good evening to you. My name is Ubuhle Baleka, and tonight we bring you the first of its kind, a show that will be providing you with service delivery updates from the municipality, the Nelson Mandela Bay Report.
Mna-ke ndingu-Asandisa Mhlengi, ukanti le nkqubo NMB Report iqulathe izicwangciso zokugcina abahlali nabo bachaphazelekayo benolwazi ngeenkonzo eziswa kubo urhulumente. Ukanti le nkqubo iza kuvundisa kwakho nabo bangenalwazi lwaneleyo ngeenkonzo, iinkqubo kunye nezigqibo zalo masipala umbhaxa iNelson Mandela.
And not only that, the NMB Report is for you, residents of Nelson Mandela Bay. There's going to be a lot of engagements with you on our social media pages. We'll also be visiting local communities to provide you with a platform of voicing out concerns or rather grievances or even uploadable comments directed to the municipality. Now, following the completion of the local government elections and the announcement of the final results, we have tonight in studio Acting Director from the Speaker's Office, Mr. Justice Sigonyela, who will be taking us through of what will happen next up until the election of the Executive Mayor and his mayoral committee.
Buhle, sathetha ngoMr. Sigonyela, i-office yakhe mos yenye yezi-office ezathi sikhokelele ekubeni sazi ngubani usodolophu, sazi ngubani isigqeba sakhe kunye noceba bazathi babekelwe.
Yes, Asa, it is supposed to be like that. You'll know that the City Manager's Office and the Speaker's Office play a very critical role in this process.
Okay, buhle ngozi. Okanti ke ngoku makasikroba abahlali kuba bathini bona ngabakulindeleyo kusodolophu omtsha kunye noceba abatsha.
Like I'll make an example about upper school. There are times whereby amanzi angabikho ne, and then jebe amanzi engekho, like people go to the toilets and then you can't really flush, so the environment isn't healthy because of that. So that's one of the key points Parliament and as well as cleaning the environment, because if you notice
ulutsha unemployed, and then you opportunities because abantu fail matrix and then they don't have imali yophinda ba-upgrade matrix zabo, so bahlala elokishini and imisebenzi emikhoyo ngoku ifuna ugrade 12 nakwi-retail shops so ndifuna nale nto ka-18 to 35 years ayiphelise at least age average bengu-40 because abanye abantu bahlala elokishini abaphangeli because of le nto yakhe intsha ba 18 to 35 years abantu abaqualifyayo for imisebenzi, abantu aba-over 35 years bahlele ezilokishini.
Okay, mina ngicela ukuthi umasipala alungise ama-robots Motherworld ukuthi uzo-avoida ama-accident maningi because akuna-control over imoto. Yiloko mina kwamphela.
Improvement endibawule yenziwe ngezi-councillors ezintsha to improve i-education yabantwana bethu. Indawo abafunda kuzo, bafunda without bafunda kwiizikolo ezinganazifestire, izikolo ezingana-playground zirayithi, izikolo zisekho secured, kwii-areas ezihlala kuzo yitha okokuqala. Okwesibini, ii-drains zethu zigqabhuka more often, ithatha i-3 days iyolungiswa, i-4 days, that means i-health yethu ayikho sendaweni erayithi. The other thing is that ungaske kube secured kwi-environment yethu iyonke.
Umbala makayeke uthatha abantwana bazi-graduates abafake under u-graduate program, agqiba kwakhe asebenzise i-office ka-EPWP as a-recruitment agency yabo, because ipolicy yabo i-against loo nto leyo, bayayazi nabo loo nto leyo. Leyo into endifuna itshintsha kuqala. Number 2, umntu makayazi xa ibekwe epositionini uba makabe yimanager yofama yakhe leya akokwabo pha, unikwa imandate uba makarane ioffice nothi uba makarane ifama yawo kwabo. I understand. Number 3, mawakwazi uphatha abantu bakhona, bayeke ukunantsika abantwana babanye ubaphatha kakubi ngendlela, because abantu abaninzi bayaresign emisebenzini ngenxa yobhosi abangenampatho.
Urhulumente ozawuphatha sicela imisebenzi kuphangelwe sisuka ngabe Eastern Cape zofuna imisebenzi apha kunzima ukuqeshwa kuthiwa sibadala kuqeshwa ngeminyaka but evotini akuxeli iminyaka sivota sonke so sicela uzawuphatha avule imisebenzi nazi izatifiketi zethu sihleli nazo endlini asiphangeli abantwana bethu bafuneka befundile
abantwana abaphangeli abantu abadala bacinyela imibane akho nto nje ilungileyo mana apha eBhayi umasipala makathathe indawo yakhe akho nto nje lo bayakhala abantu abadala for instance ngoku abantu abadala beциnyelwe umbane bahamba baya kwamasipala bohlaziya kuthiwa ngoba babuye ngoFebruary what about uDisemba bazawuthini because ii-units ziyahamba naba abantwana bahlele ezitratweni abaphangeli naba bedraini ziyaqabhula akho nto irayithi yeyiphi le siyivotelayo kanye yeyiphi lizawutshintsha tell me guys kuthiwa masenzovuka uzenzele awuxhaswa nakulovuka uzenzele sineekrishi apha akho nto yenzekayo siyafunda akho nto yenzekayo simile kuthiwa masivote qha simane sivota qha
image imdaka hayi imdaka kakhulu ke sibona utshintsho apho ke kube clean yabo imdaka ke basincede ke apha kulantika umbane kakhulu apha emisebenzini nasembaneni umbane uhamba nathi ngecala umbane mntakabawo besibhatala ilantika i-service charges kodwa phayana elokishini kumdaka so please ngaske kubekho utshintsho olunjalo kwakhiwe nezindlu for abantu kukho abantu abangenazindlu abasihleli emabobosini iminyaka belindele izindlu nezazakhiwe izindlu zange zarenovate.
Sibuye sinamkele kwinkqubo yethu i-NMB Report ukanti ngoku sikunye nendwendwe lethu utata uSigonyela. Tata Justice Sigonyela wena usuka kwiofisi kaSomlomo ulibambela mlawuli. Kwiveki epheleyo bekusonyulwa and abahlali bayazibuza ngokuba awuziyazala ngumoni. Umbuzo endinawo ukuba ooceba basekhona ibhunga lona ngaba lisekhona kusini na?
Enkosi sisi. Ndibuya pha office kaSomlomo, office kaSpeaker, where unyulo lenzekile, IEC was announced your results, and IEC will then inform accounting officer, who is now acting city manager, of all of our councillors who have been elected, right? Ngoku ke abo bebengooceba abasengabo oceba awubuya abo banyuliweyo xa ibhunga lithe lahlala. Okwangoku ke umuntu obambeleyo otsala imikhala nguye acting city manager. Zonke izigqibo zithathwa nguye ngalo eli xesha.
Okay. Leliphi elinye inyathelo eliye lithathwe emveni kokuba konyuliwe?
Kwabe konyuliwe saziswa i-IEC ukuthi ngobani abanyuliweyo, siye ke ngokungaphakathi ke si-administration siqale siprepare i-agenda, that is i-notice invite oceba abo kwintlanganiso yawuthi ibe khona. Apho ke kuyawuthi ke ibe khona ke yasekelelwa ngokusemthethweni yona ibhunga elo.
Ungathi ngoku apha eofisini akho nto yenzekayo kwaye kusamiwe ngoku akho nto yenzekayo eofisini akho mkhathandlela uzibonisa uba abahlali yintoni abamayilindele?
Into abahlali mabayilindele ngoku yinto yokuthi ke sawuthi abe efumanekile amagama sawubazisa ngelanga elo awuthi oceba babe baqala ngalo ukusebenza okusemthethweni.
Ungathi wena leliphi ixesha onothi abahlali balindele khona ukuba bafumane usodolophu omtsha bafumane noceba omtsha? Ezo sigqibo sikwathathwa ngobani?
Okokuqala ke kwintlanganiso yokuqala yebhunga after unyulo, oyena mntu wokuqala othi anyulwe, the first office bearer to be elected becomes the Speaker of Council, who is the chair of council. That is the first office bearer who gets elected. So umuntu wokuqala unyulwa kwibhunga xa lidibana iyawuba nguSomlomo. Awuthi ke leyo iprocess ke iye presided over by acting city manager. Okay, abe enyuliwe ke usomlomo athathe isikhundla. Emveni koko ke athi ke iqale ke enze i-announcement yokuba kufikelele ithuba lokuthi ke kube kunyulwa umeya. Right? So the first office bearer to be elected in terms of the law is the Speaker of Council, who will then preside subsequently to the election of all other office bearers. The first one being the executive mayor.
Ingaba xana kusonyulwa usomlomo wonyulwa ngosuku olunye ngemini okonyulwa ngayo uSodolophu uMasipala uMbasa?
Nangendlela ke unyulo lelo hamba ngayo kunzima kuba ndingaze nditsho ukuthi kuyakwenzeka ntoni ngoba ke andikhopha ndingeyiyo ipolitician. Okwethu ke sawulinda ke xa bona bevumelene bona ke i-politicians as i-councillors babona ibe ngubani, kodwa ke thina sigayidwa yi-legislation. Ithi legislation, after i-councillors have been elected within 14 days, the council must convene, right, to elect the office bearers of council.
Okay. Ungasixelela that yephi into nothi uwazisa abahlali ngayo ngomsebenzi owenziwa yi-office yakho?
I-office kaSpeaker ibaluleke kakhulu kuba kaloku yona irresponsible for i-councillor support, irresponsible for the welfare yoceba, 120 yoceba esinabo kule ithemo, but eyona nto ingumahluko into yoba sine-political parties eziyi-13. So i-office kaSpeaker ke irresponsible to make sure ukuthi your councillors are able to find their feet in terms of the various legislation ukuthi yintoni umsebenzi wabo ngokomthetho. Umsebenzi kaCeba is clearly defined in the legislation in terms of the Structures Act. And then the office kaSpeaker is to make sure that your councillor are being capacitated, bayafundiswa, bayatrainwa, bayu-understand umthetho lo bazabe bemele bayawulandela, bayawu-applya futhi bayawuhlonipha.
Okay, tata. Umbuzo wokugqibela. Ingaba yeyiphi imicelimngeni eniye nidilishane nayo xana kufika abantu abatsha kanti kufika ooceba abatsha?
Look, ooceba andithi zii-politicians. So nina ke kukho thina sigayidwa ngumthetho. Right? Ke siyazama ke ukuthi by all means sithi kubo ke kufuneka ku-adheriwe kwi-procedure yabo kumthetho. Akubi lula ke kodwa ke siyabatrain for them to become aware ukuthi kubalekile babawuhloniphe umthetho. Part of the challenges normally will be sometimes a councillor, xa bengekho well trained, iba yi-challenge because baye sometimes bangayi-understand ukuthi eyabo i-boundary phela kuphi nendawo. So part of i-capacity building, councillor support, which ihlala phaa kula office kaSpeaker, right, is support our councillor to understand their legal roles and responsibilities, you see. Then we make sure that they are getting inducted. It's our part of in my office kaSpeaker to make sure the new councillors are inducted to understand the functions.
Ngositata. Ukanti lowo ke ngutata uSigonyela, tata uSigonyela usuka kula office kaSomlomo uMasipala uMbasa iNelson Mandela. Kanti yena ulubambela mlawuli phaa kula office. Ngoko ke ndithi masiphinde sisebenzele intengisweni bethuna sawubuya sinamkele kwakhona.
And welcome back. You are still tuned into the NMB Report. We're still joined by Mr. Sigonyela from the Speaker's office. Just before the break, we were discussing the legislative steps that ought to be taken after the announcement of the election results. Mr. Sigonyela, when can we expect to have the executive mayor take office?
Thank you. The executive mayor will assume office immediately once council has convened and the election of the mayor has happened. Now, to determine the date, I can't tell now. The accounting officer will tell us the date, then we'll work on it. However, we're having 14 days to do that. So the mayor will be elected within 14 days. That's what the law requires. And it is expected of all political parties who have actually contested elections to comply and abide by that provision.
What is the process of electing the mayor? Please just take us through
The
that.
process of electing the mayor, a mayor, given the fact that there's no outright winner here, so obviously perhaps political parties are talking to each other, to horse trading, maybe they will decide who. However, a mayor will then be nominated at council meeting. So you might have more than one, a nominee, and then when that happens, then that nomination must be seconded by another councillor, and that when that nomination has been seconded, and then the person being nominated must accept. So there are prescribed forms that they all complete. So once he has accepted, there must be witnesses, okay? Then the election will take place in a secret ballot format, okay? So that's the majority votes, then the executive mayor will then be announced as elected. In the event where there is only one nominee, then that one is declared immediately as elected.
And what about his mayoral committee?
His mayoral committee, he decides. That is his own prerogative.
Okay.
The executive mayor elects or appoints his own executive, right? His mayoral committee, that is like his own cabinet at a local level, and then he assigns them specific responsibilities: electricity and engineering, human resource, infrastructure, human settlement, public health, economic development, sports, recreation and culture. Yes. Those are all committees. There will be 10 portfolio committees. So the executive mayor will be assisted by those people, right, at this level. Then they will be referred to as members of the mayoral committee, or MMCs, okay? There is also other committees that are council-established committees. Okay. Right? Now, what then happens, those MMCs will become chairpersons of your portfolio committees, which are your Section 79 committees, right?
I'm pretty sure that viewers at home are very eager in finding out who will be the Bay's next executive mayor. But please tell us about the appointing of the deputy mayor and the chief whip. How does that process go, maybe for viewers who are not familiar with this process of electing the deputy mayor?
Perhaps to assist the viewers again, the deputy executive mayor also will be nominated, and if there is more than one, right, a nominee, obviously the process of a secret ballot will be followed. That person will be nominated, that nomination will be seconded, right? And the nominee must accept in a prescribed form, the acceptance, then there will be witnesses. So a secret ballot will then happen, and then the one with the majority of the votes will be declared the deputy.
And the chief whip?
The same procedure will happen. You have a person nominated. If there is more than one, then you follow the process of a secret ballot, and then the one who gets the majority of the votes will be declared the chief whip of council.
Thank you so much.
But before I forget, I will step out. I think it is very important that the viewers out there are made aware of the fact that the Speaker of Council is the first office bearer, actually, by law, to be elected, right? So, and what he does is very, very important for Council, because that is the office that is actually represent, right, the code of conduct, how councillors must behave, right? There's a certain decorum that office is entrusted to uphold. Okay.
Just lastly, for interest's sake, what exactly is the role of the chief whip?
The role of the chief whip is a conduit between political parties and who are represented in council to try and bring about harmony, understanding, He assists the whole council. Various political parties, they meet, they agree on how council must proceed, given the fact that they come from various backgrounds. So the role of the chief whip is to make sure councillors do attend meetings, councillors do perform their functions in terms of legislation, and that various political parties are actually available to discharge of their mandate in terms of the elections.
Mr. Sugonyela, the deputy mayor, what exactly is his role as well? I know we have the executive mayor who's always the main person or the big boss. What does the deputy mayor do exactly, or is it just a shadow? What exactly is his designated role?
Look, because he's also an elected office bearer of council, so there will be specific matters that will be dedicated to the Deputy Executive Mayor. He work together with the Executive Mayor, all right? However, they are both elected by council, so the distribution of functions and powers is then, their domain. They then discuss amongst themselves, that, okay, you will be responsible. For an example, in our context, the Deputy Executive Mayor previously was also, for an example, responsible for matters of international relations, for an example, between the municipality and various countries out there. That is but just one of those functions, that will distinguish him from the Executive Mayor. And also matters of internal businesses, where the mayor will actually assign him to be responsible for certain activities within the council for efficiency of the system.
Just lastly, I know we're very pressed for time. How many political parties do we have in council, or are we going to have in council? I know that we have new political parties emerging now. Please just explain that to us quickly.
Oh, very interesting. We have 13 political parties.
That is a lot.
It's quite a lot, and one must start trying to get used to the names, because we were not used to them, but really. We have 13 political parties, and really, we are looking forward as Office of the Speaker. I'm personally looking forward to meeting each and every one of the 120 councillors.
Yes.
And trying to remember each and everyone, the name and the face. It's a task that I think all of us in the administration are really looking forward. And we are preparing to welcome them. And the Office of the Speaker will work together with all other stakeholders internally to make sure that the representatives of our people, as a result of elections, are well received, and for them to be able to do their functions, do their work. We are there as Office of the Speaker to make sure that you guys, you are now a councillor, this is how you perform your duties, and we are there to provide the necessary support.
Mrs. Ngela, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. That was very informative. Hopefully viewers are able to understand the process that gets into the election of the Executive Mayor and the Mayoral Committee. Thank you so much for your time. Well, that was it for today's episode with Mr. Justice Sigogela from the Speaker's Office. Right now, we have to take a quick ad break. We'll be back just right after this.
Ukwenjenje siyawuqola siwuqongqotha uvumba wethu kolirhatya. Iba kunye nathi kwakhona ngomhla wama-22 kuNovemba, nalapho sakube sinibonisa amagqabantshintshi okuhlala kwebhunga lika-2021-2025 kunye nokonyulwa kwezidolophu omtsha kwezi sixeko.
And as well as part of the next show, we'll be having the newly elected Executive Mayor here in studio. You guys do not want to miss that.
Definitely.
Don't forget to engage with us on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality. On Twitter, it's at NMandela Bay Uni. And don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel at Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality. From myself, Ubuhle Baleka,
Kunye no Asandi Somhlengi,
we're saying good night and God bless.